Hello, today I'm going to talk about legacy modernization versus AI readiness. Every CIO I talk to right now wants to build an AI native products, agentic workflows, real-time intelligence, and autonomous operations. And then you ask them, what is their core systems are running on? And their answer is Java monolith from 2009, or worse, COBOL. That's the gap nobody wants to talk about publicly. Here is what the research is now confirming. A COBOL batch process cannot feed a real-time fraud model. A schema on write database from 1998 cannot power a customer personalization engine. Modernization isn't a precondition for experimenting with AI. It's a precondition for deploying AI at scale where it actually changes the business economics. So the sequencing question, modernization first or AI enable as you go, isn't really a debate anymore. The foundation has to come first. Now here is the part that's actually new. Agentic AI is being used to accelerate the modernization itself. Agentic platforms can now automate discovery, documentation, refactoring, and testing phases end to end, turning what it took months of manual reverse engineering into hours. But a recent Microsoft engineering post put it plainly. Skipping validation or trusting large automated changes too early almost always backfires. And Gartner is already flagging this. Over 40% of agentic AI projects will be cancelled by 2027. Not because of the technology is fake, but because enterprise deployed is expecting autonomous operations and discovered that they would bought sophisticated assistant instead. So you are using AI to modernize your systems for AI. That's powerful. It's also where governance has to be built in from the start, not to retrofitted after something breaks. If you want to get real about modernization, you have to start with something most teams avoid. Honesty. Not about what's old, that's easy, but what's actually broken in your architecture? What's tightly coupled? What's undocumented? What do your engineers quietly avoid because it's too risky to touch? That's your real debt. That's your constraint. And until you define that clearly, nothing else really matters. Once you have that clarity, then you build a phased roadmap. Not a big rewrite, not a shiny transformation deck, but a sequence of deliberate incremental changes tied to the real business value. Now this is where AI and specifically agentic tools change the game. You can use them to accelerate the hard parts, dependency mapping, documentation generation, and even identifying the refactoring opportunities. Things that used to take months now take days. But here is the catch. Speed without control is just chaos. Every chain needs a review gate. Every chain needs to prove a functional equivalence. The agent can move fast, but the human owns the output, always. And over time, this leads to a bigger shift. You're not just writing a code anymore. You're defining intent. You're reviewing what AI produces. You're making judgment calls. You're approving what goes into production. You move from being a coder to an orchestrator of systems. And that's not a threat to engineering teams. That's an upgrade. That's a new way of programming. It's a more strategic role. The organizations that win over the next 3 years won't be the ones with the biggest AI budgets. They'll be the ones with a foundation clean enough for AI to actually run on. Because modernization today is not an IT hygiene exercise. It's the entry key for AI economy.